What is the difference between GMRS and ham? That's a very good question. Let me explain. These are ham radios. These are GMRS radios. And these are a secret third thing. They're business radios. Technically, in the part rules of the FCC, these aren't to be used on GMRS, but people do all the time. And also, I don't believe you're supposed to use them for amateur radio or ham, but once again, people do. These are the GMRS radios, and they operate on channels, not frequencies. Although they do take place in frequencies, they are listed via channels. They take place from channel 1, 462.5625, all the way up to channel 22, 462.725. GMRS radios only have a maximum output of 5 watts on handhelds and 50 watts on the mobile units. But all the channels are the same, and they can still talk to each other on all these same channels. GMRS radios are the only radios that you're allowed to use for GMRS frequencies. They also share the same frequencies with the family radio service, the little walkie-talkies you get at Harbor Freight, Lowe's, Walmart, etc. These are ham radios. These radios are able to operate anywhere from 144 megahertz to 148 megahertz or 420 megahertz to 450 megahertz. That's because that is the allocated frequencies for VHF and the first portion of the UHF for amateur radio. Although this one does technically do what's called 1.25 meter, which is 220-ish megahertz, but not as many people actually use that band. Now, a lot of these radios can be unlocked to talk on GMRS frequencies, but that would make them part unaccepted. And while these radios technically have no power limit whenever it comes to their usage, a lot of them cap out around 5-8 watts. But whenever it comes to amateur base stations, a lot of them are allowed up to 1,500 watts. That'll push through anything, however much you need it. In fact, I can't even think of a scenario where you're going to need every last drop of that 1,500 watts. But nevertheless, you're allowed to on these frequencies. But something else to remember is the difference between GMRS and ham is that one requires a tested license and one requires just a paid license. You see, amateur radio, you need to take a 35-question test and get at least 27 of the questions right to be able to talk on these frequencies and get your technician license. A GMRS license is like a fishing license. You buy it for $35 and for 10 years you have your call sign. The reason I like to choose GMRS over amateur is you can talk to these little FRS bubble pack radios and keep in touch with your family and emergency communications.